Today's metaphor, should you decide to use it, is wilderness. The word occurs 300 times in the Bible. When you come down to elemental things, earth, air, fire, water, sun, wind, moon, a flake of lichen on the rock, a scrap of bird song, Orion in the clear winter sky, wilderness. You find it metaphor or poetry, to call it by its other name, is a fundamental property of things. You find that things tell us of other things, things that are true and good, things about ourselves we may not see otherwise, and a way to accept them. Things can speak, poorly but truly, of some of the things that language cannot. The wilderness. It's somewhere we've been before. For 41 of us, we can say that literally. We stood there in that wilderness in the Holy Land just a couple weeks ago and could say, here Jesus was sent by the Spirit. Here Jesus was tempted. That was the kind of literal experience that can make you shudder. But for all of us, I can say, the wilderness is somewhere we've been before. Wilderness is the state of the wild. Lent begins in wilderness, and it was the Spirit who led Jesus there. There, in the wilderness, Jesus comes face to face with temptation and struggle. There, he fasted and wondered and resisted. All of that made him the person he was becoming. There, he was shaped and formed for his work. You and I are being led into wilderness, whether we want to go there or not. We are being invited to surrender into the wild. We can trust that experiences like that will define us. There, we find out who we are and whose we are. There, it's always dangerous and sacred at the very same time. There, we discover that love can be found there too. That there is no place too desolate or too scary for God to be found there. No place too desolate or too scary for God to be found there, waiting for us, teaching us. Jesus must go into that wilderness. He must experience hunger, fear, scarcity, loneliness. He must go where he will not be distracted from himself, his inner self. He must be brought to the point where the offers of the devil become more and more enticing. There is something for Jesus to experience in the wilderness. This gospel is central to our understanding of our experience of Lent. We match Jesus' 40 days with our own. Like Jesus, we are led by love itself into our wildernesses. Yes, it is love that leads us, as surely as it did for him, into our wildernesses. In his physical weakness, Jesus finds strength to hold fast to God. In his weakness, he finds the strength to hold on to God. As the distractions of the world fade away, the things that really matter, are most important, come into focus. All those voices in our culture and society that try to tell us we are something we are not, voices that get quite believable begin to lose their power over us, to distract us, to delude us. Perhaps one of the gifts the wilderness gives, those angels we only find there in the midst of temptation, is that we discover how courageous we are, really how courageous we are, and how steady we never knew we were, and how really faithful you and I can be. We don't find that until it's tempted, until it's challenged. It's when we begin to see that it was there all the time. That doesn't make the next 40 days easy. It does not mean that we will fall short or beg for an easy way out, that we will not fall short or beg for an easy way out. But it does mean that when the temptations come the next 40 days or the rest of our lives, there are both devils and angels waiting for us in the wilderness. That's right. There will always be waiting for us in the wilderness, devils and angels. This is a place of beginnings, of learning who and whose we are, where our strength and faith are tested, where our identity and our call are shaped, where we will fail and we will get it wrong, and that is both isolating and dangerous. The wilderness awaits. It's just on the other side of those doors back there. The wilderness awaits. Our interns shared with the community just Ash Wednesday their personal wilderness. I highly encourage you to listen online to their brokenhearted and uplifting sharing if you can. It's all online. And that was their personal wilderness they shared. But collectively, we have a wilderness too. And we are facing the wilderness of that right now, just this past week and the week before. The wilderness of precipitous falls in the stock market that left so many unsettled and so many scared. And this coronavirus thing that seems to be lurking all around us and makes us more afraid than we've been perhaps for a long time. Both what's happening in the stock market, these plummets that are historical and have never happened before, where all of a sudden people don't know if they have enough to retire on, and this coronavirus. Both are leaving us way afraid right now. That's our collective wilderness. Whether it's personal or collective, the wilderness awaits. There's something for us to experience in the wilderness. When we find ourselves in the wilderness places of life, may we take an open, curious posture, ready to be challenged, shaped, and sent. Wilderness is somewhere we've been before. We will be there again. And it is the Spirit that leads us into it and through it, and then out of it, and then back in again. I'm not the first. That's what I tell myself when I wake up in the wilderness. Big sky, worried heart, wondering which way to start. I've been here before. We have been here before. For as long as there has been creation, there has been wilderness. First it was an endless void, until God and God's paintbrush painted the sky gold. And then it was all that lies east of Eden, which is everywhere that our story unfolds. So like a child memorizing their home address, you'd think I'd learn my way out of this wilderness. But like the Israelites who wandered for 40 plus years, they think I'll spend most of my day-to-day here. For the wilderness is everywhere that I start to grow. Cracks in the sidewalks, daisies take hold. And the wilderness is every single place of unknown, or when shame or fear move into my home. And the wilderness is where dusty feet tread, familiar with the truth that we have days left. So where is God, you ask? God is in the big sky and my worried heart. God is the sidewalk cracks where new life starts. God is in the realization that I'm not the first. So may we take these limited days left and remember that we've been here before. God and I, in this untamed world. God and the Israelites and the gathered assembly. God and the horizon and a new day beginning. I wish you wilderness.